Make sure that's going through. Yep. That's just good practice to do this kind of thing. And you can get a sense of your compositions when you do this. You know, think about where halfway is, some of that good stuff. And I can restate that. Now, another thing that you're going to want to do today is you're going to limit your palette after a while. When you're doing this, after you get this bed thing done the way you want it, then I would just pick out a dark, medium, and light that you're going to use to secure the image, okay? You always have those things next to you that you can heat back up if you need to. But in order to not get too confused, it's a good idea to limit a little bit what you have. So on this image here, I'm going to add a little bit more dark on this one. And I'm going to get some of my A brushes out for this stuff. And there we go with that.
Forgot about mixing on the palette.
What's that again?
I forgot about mixing on the
Well,
palette.
yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, sure.
So
and when you're doing this
rusty.
first part, yeah, you don't think about that. But you could even do that, you know, now, today. I'm trying to do like 3 things at once here, but that's okay. So yeah, I got an area here that's much more red. And this, again, see as a process. It's something that's gradual. Thanks. There's a nice dark behind it. I had a dark on the subject point. See, that's the other thing. I always have little chunks of color that I work with. That's my stuff that I can pull out. These will be helpful. Palette management, right? At home, those of you that have seen my setup in videos and stuff would note that I heat my paints up on one, and then I have a separate palette for mixing. And I found that to be, you know, helpful. And that palette that I have for mixing is white, which is also helpful. So you have to look a little bit and find those. But when you do, buy 10.
Yes.
It's a good thing to find. So there's a interesting dark back here that I want to kind of bring in. Also, when you're painting, these are just little tips about how to do certain things and what to look for. Try not to repeat your colors on the piece through the whole piece. Try to echo it. You get what I mean by that? So you don't want the same blue here and the same blue over here. Think about ways to make those special. Questions as I'm doing this?
You're varying that same color with value or slightly different.
Could be value, yeah, a little bit more warm, cool. Sure, there's lots of things that you can do to make it work. And in the underpainting stages, which is what we're still about, this early phase here, you can still adjust it as you go with upper layers. I'm just securing some of those big darks in there. This is what you'll be doing in your thing. So see those steps that we're making? We're starting to get a little bit of form going on there, and yet it's affected by what's underneath. And then you start to say, oh, wow, there's some possibilities there. You know, that could be this distant woods. I don't know what made that up, but if I get the shape right, I'm going to have something interesting. And this is the dialogue you're going to try to cultivate with what you do. So keep on going. And yeah, maybe I'll with your limitation, I've got a cool, a warm, and a white. You could make that your limitation. you know, bluish or reddish, and then some white or off-white. That could be what you're going to use for this next stage. And then you try to make that extend and get as unusual as you can. Like with that, I can keep adding more of other colors that are floating around to it to give it some character. This is quite a nice yellowy white, so maybe I decided I want this to be a later in the day scene. And I just put things in here and I'm painting shapes. I'm not thinking in terms of sky or bridge. I know it's a bridge, but I'm thinking now much more in terms of shapes, negative shapes, things that will help me understand where I am. And you see what's happening too is I have a rougher ground, how that's being affected and affecting what's going on top of it, right? But if you're working in, say, a broken colorway, it can be wonderful if that's what you want to do. So you start to see this is already interesting. It's on its way to being something that's different and unique. It's different from that. I've moved past, if I'm working from a photograph, I've moved past that already. And I'm into a new world where this is the object that matters. This is the thing that I'm working from. So I'll just keep going for just a little bit. One of the tricks, and I do this at home, I don't know if you have or use different waxes to clean your brushes with. Lots of times people have a different brush for each color, and that's fine, but that can get expensive if you don't have a ton of brushes. So at home I have a little thing of paraffin that is just warmed up, that I just dip the brush in, clean it off. Yeah. I do tend to kind of have light brushes and dark brushes. Some brushes, like this Viridian, that's a powerful color, and that can, you know, color your brushes for a lot of things. So you can maybe make a Viridian or a dark brush. It's going to have different qualities when you do different things. And the thing that'll start to happen is you'll begin to have a dialogue between front and back, and you'll start to see things and get organized in your interpretation of the space. And I want to carry this over to here, and you can make corrections, and you can talk to yourself. Does anybody do that?
It's always something.
Okay, good.
No, I never
Yeah,
did.
Never all now. Come on.
What are you doing? What are you thinking?
My name's Dale. It's been 5 minutes since I last talked to myself.
I just don't know why I talk to myself in the grocery store.
Of course, with the advent of cell phones and earbuds, you see this. It's just weird, you're right? People are
Yes.
walking down the street and go
People
like
are
this.
talking out loud. Like
What's
lunatics.
going on? Yeah. Yeah. Just be careful about what you post on social media for go on these rants.
Yeah, and you don't have that much paint on your brush.
I don't.
Noticed.
Good notice, yes. I don't because, you know, I can always add more.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah, you can see it's starting to build up here. It's starting to get some of the form and it's starting to show, but it's very different from that. Well, that makes it interesting. I don't put special names on them. I just say, you know, this is what I figured out over the years that's kind of cool. And even if you disrupt an edge, it can be really cool. If there isn't one of these around and you want to borrow it, you feel free. So there's areas of that where I've hit it fairly hard with the heat and it's gotten mysterious. And as I put in some lights, I might pick those back out and make them show up. Remember, what you're doing here is a series of adjustments of things to this, okay? Because I look at it and say, well, I don't want that green there. What do I want there? I'll paint it over. Or that green's kind of cool, I'm gonna leave it. Or it's in the wrong spot. I pick it up and move it with something like that as best I can. And, or I don't like it at all, you can scrape it right down, which is one of the other things that's pretty cool. Heat it up, take it right down to nothing. That'd be another way to find this, is you could heat that up and just take everything away except for your underpainting, and then fill in with sky or that white shape back there. And that's another way to do it. This is the lowest speed this has. I have a heat gun at home that goes a little bit lower speed. If you do this right, it actually kind of fuses it right then and there. You know, which sort of flies in the face of some of those you got to do it this way kind of things.
I'm scared I would do that and like the
Mhm.
whole bottom corner would be melting off the page. And, you know, I'd be
Thinking
like,
about your
oh
grocery list.
crap,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
see that.
Oh, it's a flower.
Yeah. If you have a fear, I've done it. I can tell you that.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is your paint is so thin.
Yeah, real thin. Yeah.
And, yeah, if you take it out of one of those bars, you're not gonna get
Well, and this is the bar I make, and I just put it down, and
Yeah, it's the same.
yeah. So my bar is similar to theirs, but as Bonnie pointed out, I don't have a big press at home. It's just pigment and the wax and resin.